My name is Masha Dashkina Maddux, and I'm staging Martha Graham's Errand Into the Maze. This work was created in 1947 with Martha in the lead role. It's a duet, and it's been an absolute pleasure to be here to work with the dancers. The work is loosely based on the Greek myth of Theseus, Ariadne, and Minotaur. So Minotaur is a half-man, half-bull creature, and in the myth, Ariadne gives Theseus a thread that he keeps when he goes into the maze to conquer Minotaur, and the only way he is able to escape is by following this little connection between the two of them. Martha puts Ariadne as the main protagonist. She is the one who goes on this errand into the maze, who goes in the labyrinth and fights it out and conquers and triumphs over her fear. You can look as the Minotaur being a physical manifestation of somebody's fear, or it could be in her head. And the rope represents that labyrinth and also draws from the original myth of having that thread. Definitely draws the inspiration from Greek mythology, but is turned around and shown from a female's perspective. Isamu Noguchi is the one who created this world for her out of sculptures, and they had a really enduring partnership and collaborated on 22 of her works. None of his set designs were ever considered to be decorative. They were part of the piece. They were very much used by all the dancers. So in this particular work, the main sculpture is a representation of the female pelvic bone. Once the dancer makes the choice to go through this opening, she makes a decision to go through this journey of battling her fears. And only at the end, when she emerges, see a brand new woman, but it's not that she wasn't strong to begin with, it's just there's a new sense of self-being, and that triumph is so changing to her. The male dancer has what we call the bone, and it creates this broad back, which makes him look even bigger. His energy is very menacing and haunting, but it almost incapacitates him. She has this fear, but he's prevented from inflicting serious damage. He does have a headdress which has the bull horns, but also it fits into their mouth, so they have to physically hold on to it as well. They have to bite on it. It's not comfortable, but it does add to the honesty and the dramatic effect for the male, because it is such difficult movement, but when you add something that really makes you breathe differently, it almost intensifies the character. The key elements from Graham technique is her use of the torso to explain and amplify the human emotion, like fear, errand into the maze, or the feeling of betrayal, or intense love, or joy, things that we feel very deep inside our core, but Martha chooses to really amplify that in her movement. The basics are contraction, which is pulling the pelvis in and hollowing everything out, and a release, which is the opposite of that. There's a spiral, there's the thrust of the pelvis. They're almost like animal qualities that we as dancers rediscover. So those are the key things that we etch in technique classes, and it's been extremely helpful to have dancers have class with me on a daily basis, because to go back to basics, to just really work on those tiny movements and understand where does the movement initiate from, how do we deepen that. And no joke, every single day when I saw the dancers in class, something looks different, something looks deeper. And then you go back into rehearsal and you see the movements done in a different way. So the technique and staging go hand in hand. Day one, we just learned a section. Day two, we started to create a world. So my responsibility is not to just have them learn the steps, but they have to learn the steps with certain intention. And that world that they create, that becomes theirs. I will ask the dancers, you have to think, are you outside? Are you in a hectic place, or are you on top of the mountain? Are you inside of a cave? And we do certain movements with eyes closed, and I'll click behind, or I'll breathe on their back to startle them. And I think that normal human response is what really makes the dancers scrape and dig a little bit deeper into their humanity. Stepping into shoes of a role that Martha has pioneered, that's a great responsibility. You don't walk into the studio without realizing just how important that honor is. It comes with a lot of research. I was given space to explore the work from so many generations prior to me, but then also explored how would Masha do it? What are the little nuances that make this work my own as opposed to me being a carbon copy of somebody who did it prior to me? There's a lot of self-discovery. You go through this battle on stage and it's so visceral and so physically demanding that certain things that just come out because you're so exhausted that there's no other way than just to be just deeply, truly honest. What do I look for in a dancer? Willingness to explore and sometimes downright to look silly and then come back and draw from it and be okay with not being okay. First time working here, it's been fabulous. The dancers are a complete delight. What I have truly appreciated is seeing them dive into this work head on, taking risks and being so curious and asking so many questions. So their work ethic is impeccable, and that really speaks greatly about their artistry, and I know they're going to do a fabulous job. I think the reason why the work is still relevant to this day, because it talks about such a normal human emotion. Show me one person who's never experienced fear in their life. Conquering something that puts you in such a debilitating situation as Ariadne, and sometimes she's just afraid to move, and you can see that in her spine, that it's worth the journey, it's worth the fight, and it's definitely worth that triumph at the end and all the bruises, and you can emerge out of it battered and broken, but different and stronger. So hopefully the audience kind of walks away reflecting on their own experience and to a certain degree, hopefully inspired.